Kadosh Boker Or Mishna Yomi Masechet Batra Perek Zayin, chapter 7, Mishnah Gimel and Dalet, Mishnah 3 and 4. Mida bechevel ani mochelecha. Right? Remember, we're here coming, we're selling by the measure. What does that mean? We have the chevel. Remember, the chevel was the measuring stick. Okay? So therefore, he comes and he says, I'm selling you, let's say, a bet kul as measured. Hen chaser en yeter. But now he comes and he says, hen chaser en yeter. Now that's a contradiction. Because when I come and I tell you, I'm selling it to you according to the measure, and then I tell you more or less, 1 second, is it more or less or is it by the measure? You have to decide. So bitel hen chaser en yeter mida bechevel. When the second language that you use, which is more or less, you annul the mida bechevel. If you said the opposite, hen chaser en yeter mida bechevel, so bitel mida bechevel hen chaser en yeter. So the opposite way around, right? If you first said mida, right, the chaser yeter, then you said mida bechevel, so the mida bechevel annulled the chaser yeter, which means that we're always going by the last words. Divrei ben nanas. These are the words of ben nanas. Okay. Now Mishnah now comes and gives us a third case. What's the third case now? Right? He says, right, when we're going to allow discrepancy that's even more than going to be 7.5 kav per bet kur. The simanav u'metzarav. If the seller comes and I'm selling you the bet kur within these markings and boundaries, meaning I'm giving you the simanim and the metzarim. I'm telling you exactly what are the boundaries. I'm telling you where the simanim. Pachot mishtut igio. It's going to be less than a 6. It's still it gets to him, meaning that he can't retract, even though it's going to be, that means even though I came and I cheated him out by 1/6, right? That's like a regular sale. You remember when I sell you something, as long as they don't overcharge you 1/6, which is 17%, it's going to be okay. So here the same thing. Ad shtut yinakeh. So he says if it's going to be more than 1/6, so then he's going to deduct, right, from the purchase, right? So the same thing. If it's going to be larger, then he can actually retract completely. Fine. Okay. That was Mishnah Gimel. Again, because here he didn't tell him he just told him the simanim and the mitzarim, right? And then afterwards, all of a sudden, right, it's going to come out that, hey, what's this? This is much less. It was not the exact bet kur. So he says as long as it's going to be less than a 6 difference, it's going to be okay. If it's going to be a 1/6, he deducts it. If it's more than 1/6, you retract on the entire sale. That was Mishnah Gimel. Mishnah Daled. Somebody tells his friend, right? I'm selling you half of the field. But now he doesn't identify which half. So, which chetzi? I don't know. I didn't tell you. So they divide it equally, and then he's going to take half. Okay? So he says here, right? Which means that since the seller did not say which part, he has the right to explain which one he meant. Okay? Fine. If he tells you the southern half field, you come and you take the half, which is going to be in the south of the field. So we're actually going to evaluate the worth of the actual field, and then he has to give the buyer the piece of land equal to the value in half. Meaning it's not actually half of the field, it's the value of the half. Okay, but it's giving it in the south. Okay? So the buyer, he accepts upon himself that he has to put the fence, right? That means he's going to have to put the fence between the two halves. The large trench which is dug outside, right? And the small trench which is going to be dug, right, between the trench and the fence, right? So now what are you doing exactly? This many times they used to do this in order that nobody could jump over and enter the other field. That means what they do is, many times they do this until today's in zoos and all these things. You'll have, let's say, for example, the fence, but on their side of the fence, there's already a ditch. Now, why is there a ditch? Because if they had the land flat, they would be able to come and jump over the fence. So purposely on their side, they would make it a ditch. So therefore, when they're in the ditch, they cannot jump over because now it's much higher. Meaning, even though on your side, the fence is not that high, but on their side, it's higher because of the ditch. So the same thing they used to do. The charitz ben charitz, kama ze charitz. He says shishat tfachim. How much is the ben charitz? A small one, 3 tfachim. So therefore, obviously, that's what he's saying, that you're going to have another tefach is needed between the two trenches. Okay, so that the total amount of land outside of the fence, right, is going to be 10 tfachim. So that's what, okay, again, you have a picture there on the bottom. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, you have the wall. There you go, now it's clear. Oh, we lost the clarity again. You have the wall, right? You have the wall, and then you have the small trench, a tefach, and then a large trench. Yeah, pass it around. Okay, very good. Call to Batsach. Have a wonderful day.